Hello and welcome to this Mavencast ahead of Digital London. I'm here with Rich from Adobe, and we're going to talk a little bit about conversion strategies and how we can focus on different numbers when we're going online. Rich, welcome. You mentioned in another interview we did is that the balance of spend between attracting new visitors versus changing the way the current ones behave is disproportionate. I just wondered whether you could talk a little bit more about that and where the focus really needs to be.
Sure. As I was saying, a recent report from Forrester found that for every $80 that was being spent on driving visitors to websites, only $1 was actually being spent on actually proactively converting those visitors. So you're going to be wasting a lot of your money sending traffic to your website if when they're getting to the website they're not being engaged and you're not converting them. You're going to have to continually filling the funnel in order for very little to come out the other end. So there's many things that you should be doing in order to optimize and test your website once they get there. So not just presume that not just presume that these visitors when they get to your websites are going to convert. You have to understand what their intentions are, what they've come to your website for. Things like developing use cases, really trying to understand them using visual analysis tools. There's a plethora of tools out there now, simple tools like ClickTail that record your visitors' interaction with websites so you can understand really what their intention is, what they're trying to do. And then once you can really see what they're doing, it can be very eye-opening sometimes, and it forms great test ideas. So for example, if you see people are getting stuck in a particular part of your website or stuck hovering their mouse over a particular icon, or a banner, it means that they may not be quite understanding what that is, so perhaps try optimizing that. Or if they're getting stuck in a part of your sign-up or conversion flow, you could try optimizing those pages. So there's just so many things that you should be doing online on your website rather than continually driving traffic to it. And if you ask me, back in the dot-com bubble burst back in 2000, one of the key reasons I think if had been in place, if there was more analysis and more conversion analysis done on improving the websites for visitors instead of driving traffic to them, I think a lot of those websites would have lasted a lot longer than they had actually lasted.
Do you think, and this is a bit of a philosophical observation, but do you think that there is a cultural barrier to that, and to articulate that, what I mean is like going in every organization, everybody loves the big numbers.
Yes.
But when to celebrate the person in the corner who's just found a 0.5% increase in conversion, that's kind of like, yeah, well, that's your job. Are we just not focusing in on the right thing, and creating the right putting it into context that those smaller numbers actually have a bigger impact?
Yeah, I think one of the challenges, as you said, is that 1% conversion lifts doesn't really sound very glamorous or very sexy. But when you convert that into a revenue in terms of impact on your bottom line, it can have an amazing impact. And I think when you give these stories to your senior executives, this 1% conversion lift in the shopping cart resulted in whatever $100,000 worth of improvements over a year. It's going to be very easy for you to gain buy-in to continue testing and optimizing the rest of your website.
Or even better, lead with the 100,000 and then tell them it was a 1% uplift.
Yep,
Did it?
yep. Exactly.
To get that right. So what are some of the obvious tips that you would counsel people to do? So because there are a range of industries, that there are a range of enterprise sizes. There's some very, very big retailers who take this very seriously, and they will throw the resources that it deserves at it. Mm-hmm. But there are also a lot of companies in the middle ground that ought to be doing more. And what would your sort of advice be to them?
Well, a good way to kind of get your feet wet in this area is to try and take some of the budget from your SEO kind of paid search kind of world and just test using that to convert your website visitors better. Make some changes. Invest in a fairly cheap tool. You don't necessarily need to have an expensive